What is good, YouTube? My name is Ash Porter and welcome to my channel. And today's video, this week's book vlog, is The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. This is the third book within the Mistborn trilogy. And I am so flipping excited for this. Coming into the Mistborn trilogy, I had no clue what these books were about. I had heard of Brandon Sanderson. I knew people rated him high, but I was unsure, uncertain. I was like, is he going to be that good? And the first two books, The Final Empire and The Well of Ascension, absolutely flipping blew me away. I have been so buzzing reading them, and I've been so excited to read this one. And here it is. We continue. And so I just don't know what else to say except I am so excited. This, again, it's a chunky boy. It's about the same length as the others, 750 pages. So it might take me a little while to read, but I'm just gonna start. And actually as well, if you saw the previous video about the Well of Ascension, you would have seen I got that one secondhand and it was in pretty poor quality. Whereas this one, The Hero of Ages, I also got secondhand, but actually there's no markings on it. It feels like it's in good stead. And so this one has clearly been looked after. And so, thanks whoever had this book previously. Honestly, these books are too much. I'm literally just read the intro and the first chapter and my mind is already buzzing. It's clear that Marsh and the Inquisitors, they are being controlled by, is it called Ruin, this power, and that was why Marsh turned bad at the end of the second book. It's good to know. Also, they talked about like he was doing something to someone. Like, do they steal the Terraceman's powers? That's my guess, but there might be something else to it. And then secondly, Venture, Elend, he's become a badass. I'm guessing from just the first chapter that it's been about just under a year since the second book, maybe a little less time, but he's already obviously been trained and Vin has trained him up as a Mistborn and he's helping villagers, townspeople against, I'm guessing the Colossus are attacking because they have free roam now and they were created, you know, by Ruin almost, and they can do what they want. And so he just turned into a badass and I'm so excited to see what he's like. He's also seems to have put down his I'm ruling with people and has taken up the role of emperor for the time being, saying I'm going to rule you because that's in your best interest. These books. Is Elend going to become as powerful as the Lord Ruler? The way he's able to like push or pull whatever it is thousands of Colossus and beat the Steel Inquisitor. Is that what it's hinting at? I said it before in my video about the Final Empire, but what I love about these books is like these opening like paragraphs to the to each chapter, and specifically these ones. Are we reading, is this Vin talking? Because she obviously experienced that power and she's now understood what the Lord Ruler did. And it's so interesting how much power there was. It was literally godlike power, and that she chose not to use it and not to change any of that stuff. But the fact that it explains how it came to be and how the Lord Ruler like just kept messing up, and that's why the world of Scardrial is so broken. It's so interesting. Like, Sanderson is just so good at slowly revealing everything. What is good, guys? It's like 23 minutes past 6 in the morning. I'm actually just about to get out for a run, but I just had some quick thoughts. I was like, I need to share this about the books and so far. And so, like, firstly, I'm absolutely loving seeing kind of an insight into Kandra culture and society, the way the generations work, and I'm really interested. I feel like Tensoon probably has a big part to play in this story, so I'm really excited about that. Second thought is, with everything that Vin's discovering and they're sort of working out, are we going to find out that although the Lord Ruler was a massive idiot and he oppressed people and a lot of the stuff he did was horrific, that underlying that there was like some good in him where he knew he had to defeat the deepness and that he'd made a mistake and all this kind of stuff? that's like my second thoughts. I don't know, I just feel like there's a hint of that in this book. And then finally, I think what I'm really enjoying and finding interesting is Sade's journey as well, in terms of, you know, it's almost like he's had this crisis of integrity, where he feels like, oh, how can I have any integrity teaching people these religions when I don't believe any of it myself? And I think it's just, his story again is really, really interesting, just from a almost like human integrity standpoint, because I know, you know, as someone of faith, there's been times where, you know, my faith has been really low. I've been very, very, very doubtful, and it's like, oh, how can I honestly talk about this to people? How can I be someone of integrity when I like hardly believe this at the moment myself? And so I think for me that Sade's journey has been really, really interesting, and I'm really excited to see what conclusion he comes to in the end, especially, yeah, with the Church of the Survivor and seeing how that's going. I just am so enjoying it. But those are my 3 thoughts for the morning. There we go. Spook's storyline is really starting to go places, isn't it? He's in this city, I can't remember its name. The nobles, the Scar leaders are corrupt because they're actually like allomancers, which mean that they like have noble blood in them. So they're corrupt because they are meant to be against nobles. And then you find out Spook like basically gets killed. And then I just read the chapter where like he's saved by Kelsia, but I don't think it's Kelsia. Do you think it's not Ruin, the other one, conservation, whatever it is? Anyway, something saved him, and Spook's just meant to be a tin eye, but somehow he's just burnt pewter. And this like spirit of Kelsia said, I've given you the power to burn it. So that mean, is Spook now a full Mistborn? Was it a temporary power? What is going on? Guys, I am absolutely shook right now. I mean, ignore my lovely background. I'm actually at my parents' garden visiting them. But Colossus are humans who have via, how do you say it, hemalurgy, whatever it is that we've just been learning about, have been turned into Colossus. What the heck? Vin's just worked that out, that yeah, they're just like dead humans, or they were humans that have been turned into these beasts, and that's why they don't have children. And I'm absolutely shook. What a revelation. This is getting so good. It's just like working out the intricacies of everything the Lord Ruler did when he got that power for a few minutes. This is too much, and understanding how, yeah, these powers, how, you know, allomancy is of conservation, frumerology, or whatever it is of balance, and then hemalurgy, I'm sorry if I'm absolutely butchering that, is of ruin. And oh guys, this is getting so good. I'm so excited to see where this is going. The way this is all falling into place is incredible. Like I've said it before and I'll say it again, Sanderson's way of keeping these secrets and slowly drawing them out is incredible. The way that all the sort of the metals work, and we're working out, and we find out all the different ways they work in terms of adamantcy. You know, now I've just learned that the Kandra as well as the Colossus are made from the metal spikes, just like the Inquisitors and Hermology, or Hermology, whatever you say it. And it's just mind-boggling how he's come up with this. It's such a clever and unique system, and Sanderson is an absolute fantasy G. Surely there is no way, one, that Yeoman, whatever his name is a Mistborn as well, and he nearly just killed Elend. Absolute madness. But at the end of that part of the book, Reen, the Inquisitors in the first book had said he was dead, that they'd killed him and tortured him. What? Like, is he an Inquisitor now? Or is he a Mistborn? Or what is he? And how's he alive? Oh my days. Oh, these books are just outrageous. Also, Vin walked straight into a trap, didn't she, really? And that was pretty dumb. So it turns out It wasn't flipping Reen, it was mother flipping Ruin. Like, Ruin itself, like making itself visible to Vin, and then turns out Ruin's been the voice inside her head all along. Does that mean Ruin was the voice inside Zane's head that the book referred to as God? And is Ruin the voice in Spook's head that he thinks is Kelsier? Okay, it's time for some more predictions, right? You know, because I'm incredible at predicting what happens in these books. But I think that they've just worked out that, or we think Ruin has a body, that when he gets the body, he gets his full power. And I think Ruin's body is in the lake, the underground lake that has been formed in that, like, northern city of Uratar, wherever Spook, Sazed and Breeze are, and that the voice speaking to Spook is Ruin, pretending to be Kel, and that the reason he's guiding Spook to get rid of the lake is that the lake is going to reveal his body, and then it's going to give him more power, and Vin is going to have to work that out and stop him. Cool. That's my prediction. Let's see if it happens. Not gonna lie, it's a little bit sad. I think I've just witnessed Preservation die, from what I understand. And I'm gonna say as well that these chapter intros in this book, my prediction is surely it has to be Sazed. Like, it's so scholarly, it can't be Vin. I think it is Sazed, and he's on this journey of going back to being a scholar and all that. So it's interesting, but Preservation, a literal god in this world of Scardriel and stuff, has just died, appearing to Elend. He used his final powers to, I don't know what it revealed, and Sazed kind of, I think who it Sazed kind of says that as well. So oof, this is heating up. We've got I think I've got about just over 200 pages left. This is intense. I'm so excited to see how this story possibly ends. Yeah, we also, sorry, a side point, know that although Preservation died there, bits of him, like, he was the life bringer, and so he was in all humanity as well. And so that's interesting. So maybe because his part of him is still in all, like, the Scar and maybe the nobility as well, and the terrace people, all these different humans, that's how they beat Ruin, is the part of Preservation is still fighting in it just through humanity, I guess. Interesting. Oh my days. I hadn't put 2 and 2 together. The fact that Spook got pierced by that sword by someone who was a thug and could burn pewter, and that's how he got the powers, and then Ruin came in and was manipulating him through that. And now Spook is basically just, in his normal tin-eyed ability, gone and saved this city, or I think saved it, by releasing the waters when no one else could have. What? How did I not see that? I knew it was Ruin, but I didn't think about the fact that he'd been, like, pierced by a sword and was being manipulated. Oh my days. Either I'm really dumb or Sanderson is an absolute genius. Have you ever been so excited to continue reading a book that you got up extra early, done all your morning routine and got yourself completely ready for your day just so you could slip in an hour of reading before work? Finn's earring. The whole time, the gift from her mum. The tiniest piece of metal Ruin could use to manipulate you. And Marsh realised he overcame just for a split second all he needed to do. He ripped the earring out, and now Vin, she's got the power of the mists. Oh my days! It all makes sense as well, right? Because the first time Vin gets to use the mists is when she's fighting the Lord Ruler and he rips her earring out. And so then the myths are like, yeah, you're not infected by ruin, we can go to you. And then the second time is where she attacks Marsh with her earring, and so it's not in her ear, and it's exactly the same again. Oh, it just all makes sense. Sanderson, my days. This hasn't gone how I was expecting it to. Like, Elend has just died. He just ate all the atium and then fought the Colossus, and then suddenly Marsh appeared out of nowhere and killed him. And Vin, in her godlike state, just like killed herself and Ruin at the same time, which is great and all. And I'm about to read, I think, the final chapter or two. But if she's done, doesn't that mean that she's left the world like too close to the sun in an absolute state where the end of the world is still coming? I can only sit here with my jaw just dropped in awe of this book. Sade, my boy, this guy that I knew was something special about him, but I didn't realise this. It was him. It was always all about Sade. Sade, the terrace keeper, the steward that was working for Kel and was told to look after Vin. He was the hero, the gender neutral because he's a eunuch. Hero of ages. And he's just restored the world because of his copper mines or whatever they're called, and the fact that he has 1,000 years and beyond of religion and history that all had moments of truth in them. Oh my days. Wow. Just wow. Wow. That's all I'm actually a little bit teary. I can feel it in the corners of my eyes. Wow. Wow. I know this is an initial reaction and I've just finished reading it. But, I mean, the ending is pretty fairy tale. So that kind of I don't know, not discredits, loses a few points for how fairy tale it is. But I think this might be one of the best series of books, if not the best series I've ever read. Initial reaction, just flipping wow. Alright, so I kind of have had sort of 48 hours to process this book and kind of the Mistborn trilogy as a whole, and 48 hours later my reaction is still wow. What a book, what a series. I think some of the things I really want to highlight are, I love for this book, and not just this book but the whole series, is I love the way the first book, The Final Empire, you have Kel and Vin. They are the main characters, they are the perspectives you see, that is it, and that's good, and you're like, oh, I love these characters. Obviously Kel dies, Vin goes on to be a Beanock, all that kind of stuff. And in the second book you get a few more perspectives. You get Vin, you get Elend, you get Sage, you even get Breeze at times, I think, and probably a few others, I can't remember, but they're some of the ones that stood out to me. And it's big up Sade, by the way. I mean, we'll come on to that in a minute. And then you get into this final book, The Hero of Ages, and the really important one to add to that is then you get Spook. And I think what's incredible is, in the first book, Spook is just this minor character that's also just this tin eye who speaks street slangs, hardly in the group, who's in love with Vin. And by the end of this book, he literally ends up as the protagonist. By the end, he's the main character. How sick is that? And the plot twist, right, with Sade, and the fact that this whole time it's been building, and that Sade, is the hero of ages. I think I know I think I already said it in my initial reaction, but that is quality writing. That is quality, like, building and planning. Like, I don't know how Sanderson writes, I don't know him that well, but I imagine he's written that out and has almost like worked backwards. Okay, how can we hide this? Because it's one of those moments where you're like, of course it's Sade. Of course he's the hero of ages. All the prophecies, it makes sense. But it's just genius, and I think there couldn't have been a more worthy character as well, because it's not just, Sade's journey isn't just about him discovering faith, like, or rediscovering faith, or finding truth. It's about him finding faith in himself. That's ultimately what it is, isn't it? It's his journey of finding faith in something more, but also finding faith in himself. Because he's always sort of putting himself down. He doesn't see himself as as an important person, as a worthy person. He sees himself as an outcast, someone who has a role, but he just doesn't view himself well. And the fact that he ends up becoming a hero of ages, he ends up becoming basically a god. It's so good. And obviously I think as well, it's devastating that Vin and Elend end up dying. That was pretty gutting. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't expecting that. I kind of thought they might live happily ever after, but equally, it serves the story so well. Spook and Sade are the main characters. This trilogy is an absolute roller coaster. It is insane. If for some reason you still haven't read these books and you're at this point in the video, go read these books. If you haven't read them recently, go reread them. Oh, these books are so good. I'm so glad I read it. And this has been The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. I've been Ash Porter. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.